What's up, guys? So today I will be breaking down how I made this car edit. Going through the Blender process first. First would be the road. It's a simple asset from Blender Kit. I made it round so it would look like a track, and I also planned a shot that way, but you'll see it didn't turn out exactly as I wanted to, so I kind of scrapped that. After that, I took a car model, obviously. So I got the whole car rigged and I created a car path so it would just simply drive around the track that way. Then I added some snow on the road. What I learned in this project is that I have a hard time optimizing. That was a very unfun experience. That's not really what I want. Okay, it's loading apparently. Okay, yeah, there we go. So, yeah, as you can see, I put some snow in there. This is before any compositing was done, so it looks pretty bland as is, but it worked pretty fine. Yeah, I added street lights. I created a snowflake particle, and I binded it to emitters on the car, so it would create these snow particles when the car drives on the ground. It creates snow particles as it would normally for more realism, obviously. Then here, I'm not going to show everything because it makes the scene lag a lot, but I'll show you a couple of the trees I added. I added a lot, and that's what made Blender crash so many times and completely fuck my render. But yeah, as you can see, I added a bunch of those trees in there for more realism because obviously we're in the middle of a road, and those tree models have took a long time to find them, but they look pretty realistic, and I was pretty happy with them. Only problem is probably the detail and the amount. So I also added snow dust. You can't see it because it's only in the final composition, but I also added some smoke on the tires here. Then of course some volumetric fog because it's a snowy night environment and made it look better. And I added a giant cube to make the sky because it would be weird in the render if I didn't, because I didn't have an HDRI. Spotlights for the headlights, then my watermark, but it wasn't very visible in the final render, so that was a bit useless. But at least I did that. I remember exactly, but I think this was a trail using nodes. Yeah. Then I added some more snow for the ground of the trees because otherwise it would have been very weird. Hence, camera shots and animation. I planned a bunch of shots doing this. I don't know why it doesn't like go to, yeah, one. Thank you. Okay. And I put a bunch of keyframes. So as you can see, that's the first shot. This was planned to be a low level shot with drift, as you can see right there. And when it goes back to normal, it would change the shot. So I keyframed that. Oh yeah, trails. Okay, yeah. I remember what trails are now. Okay, I try to create these like light trails, but they lagged out at the last second. My idea was like the car leaving a trail and making a circle, then that becoming the Mercedes logo. It ended up becoming something else in the final render, but that was my original idea, and you'll see why it failed. So my idea was like to zoom out, have this zoom out thing. Like we go back to this shot, which I think is the coolest. And the motion blur obviously makes it pretty nice. Plus the everything blends in nicely. The shot was pretty nice, I think, too. Like simply as you can see the trails, they're not composited, but you can see the vision. But yeah, the camera passing, then it returning to the bag, that was pretty nice. And this was the shot where, no, this was a nice shot. Okay, this was this was the wheel shot, which I liked quite a lot as well. You can see I messed up with the aperture, so it looks in onto the wheel. And this was the shot that failed quite miserably because of the volumetric fog. And I tried to play with that, but I just never could get it to look good. Where it would be visible, but still, like the circle would be visible, maintain some realism. So that was pretty bad. The vision was creating those trails, going around this, make them glow, and then become the Mercedes logo. That was the vision. Ended up being something else. The wheel, obviously. But yeah, I had a lot of fun making these shots. I keyframed everything, as you can see. Most of these keyframes are for controlling the car rig, which is very easy to control. Keyframe this, keyframe the wheels to rotate, keyframe the car. Yeah, also with Final Render, I did some compositing, and obviously the car model already looks really good. Plus the added trees, plus the Cycles engine, which is looks very realistic. The only problem, as I said before, was the performance. So I wasn't able to render at full quality. I had to upscale it down the line. And for the compositing, this is very simple. I added some glare to make it more glowy, then lower down the exposure. But most of the work, compositing work, was done in After Effects, and it was already looking pretty good. So I exported the raw clips like this. You can see there's a lot of grain, lots of grain. So these are the raw clips. And yeah, the shot that failed. But they're already looking pretty nice to me, even though they're not rendering at the design quality. And you can see right there was a lot of fog and it just suddenly disappeared. That was me adjusting mid-render, but I could not afford to render the first frames because time was running out and I was just wanting to get this project done as soon as possible. Already look way less noisy. I'll try and load it in full. Yeah, you can see the still noise, obviously. So that's what I said. It didn't render at the quality I wanted, but I think it kind of gives that grain look that I would have added anyway with film grain. It wasn't that bad, but I would definitely optimize it better. So for the CC, I did some pretty intense CC because so yeah, as you can see, I use Magic Bullet looks for CC because it's the most precise. Also denoised the render a bit, so it removed all these like white artifacts. You can see looks a lot better. And I also used this denoiser. So as you can see, this helped quite a lot. This is before. This is after. It looks really dark, but I thought this CC was pretty good. So I then switched it down the line because sometimes it was too dark that we couldn't see it at all. I think this looks pretty nice, very dark vibes, but we can also see the render. This is probably the best. This looks pretty nice, in my opinion. Really cut out a lot of noise using these two effects. Noiser does is that you can see it duplicates like the kind of the frame. Also creates this motion blur type of effect. So I didn't mind that at all because I think motion blur can definitely be overused sometimes, but it creates in car edits at least, creates that speed effect. And it's never bad at all. So yeah, I then rendered this uh, as CC1, as you can see, and this is the clips that I used. For the first scene, uh, unfortunately, I didn't like how I added too much volumetric fog, as I told you, so I simply switched between scenes, reflex, but I switched between scenes and I always use the soft shakes when making shakes. My shakes are not the best. I know that. I'm working on it. But I thought this looked pretty alright. That I simply took this clip, then I think time remap, yeah, time remap. I'll show you the graphs on that. Plus weird graphs, okay, yeah. I don't know myself, but I did whatever looked nice at the time. And this looked alright. So I simply made it go really fast, like drift really fast into the next scene. That makes sense. Right there, I used the Solve Luma to make it so you can only see the headlights, and then increase the brightness. Then I made it go back up. I did my classic morph effect that I like to do, which is turning some object into another one. And so that was the headlights into the text, the OK. Okay. To do that, deep glow. So it was very bright and you can almost not see the highlights. Levels to balance it, and Gaussian blur. And keyframe the opacity until about right there. Then I created this CRT text. I did the same morph effect. Boom. As you can see with framers. The CRT thing looks a bit complex, but I'll try and break it down. The text itself is not really that hard. It's Venetian blinds, so you can get this line effect. Optics compensation, so it has this like look, like this camera lens look. Deep glow, obviously, for all text works nice. Gaussian blur. Then more grid to make it look more CRT. Like as you can see, it cuts out like the light. Gaussian blur. Mosaic makes it look low quality. Flicker to make it look like it's flickering, obviously. Then simply other OK layers with different colors. And you can see I just tinted them. So it looks like this chromatic aberration framer when it pops. What I mean. Then I rotated these layers in a 3D environment so the O could become the I, if that makes sense. And I obviously added framers like this threshold framer here, and later down the line, another threshold, and another threshold at different parts of the eye clip. So, eye clip, I time remapped it so it opens fast, and then I used a leaf color to only keep the eye, and then I changed this leaf color to match like the wheel, like the yellow brake thing, and obviously sharpened it and gave it some nice looks. So that's how it was before. That's how I made it. Pretty nice. We had this eye shot. I wanted to make the eye become the wheel. I had some BCC organic strands here with the displacement map and turbulent displace. So it really, and I added them in between like the eyelids. So it really looks like veins inside the eye, if that makes sense. I think I did a pretty alright job at that. Then zooming in with this tire shot, I also had a leaf color on it. This is the tire shot that I had with some vignette and all that to focus really on the wheel. And so as you can see, the wheel is already ingrained into the eye, and it looks pretty seamless because the eye was already that color. And then I made it become the wheel with, now rewatching it, I think it was a bit too strong. But when you play real time, it's not that bad. It's always about these micro adjustments that you need to make. That's fine. So yeah, I made the vignette go stronger, and I masked out the middle of the tire so it could come to this Mercedes logo. Then I zoomed out of the Mercedes logo, and cut out some headlights from the car, made them become my next clip with edge detect. And the solve rumor. There you can see it just becomes the next clip, and it's this clip of the car drifting, passing by, and then some dissolve luma again, progressive dissolve luma, overlays, same text effect CRT, and boom. There you go.